All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. The Toronto Raptors have now won 6 straight basketball games. This was another impressive win at home. Keep in mind, the Toronto Raptors still have no fans at home. It is really weird. It is extremely weird. They've had several games at home with no fans now, but it still is just super weird. Every other team has fans. So shout out to this Toronto Raptors team for fighting through adversity. Missing a couple of key players tonight, still got the job done at home. A shout out Freddie VanVleet, this man. Give this man an all-star. I mean, literally give this man an all-star. What Fred did in the fourth quarter, I mean, what he did the whole game was impressive, but what he did specifically in that fourth quarter, he had 3 straight threes. One of them was a logo 3, and you're just thinking to yourself, there is no other player on the planet except maybe Steph Curry that I would want taking these types of shots. Like any other player on any other team taking the shots Fred VanVleet takes sometimes, he's got some big-ass balls on him. Not too many players in the NBA are ready for something like that. So welcome back to the channel, guys. If you enjoy it, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I post plenty of Raptors videos every single week, like 3 or 4 at least. I post NBA content every single day. We're still trying to hit 10,000 subs. Raptors Nation, you guys show so much love on these videos. If we could try and get this video to 100 likes, it would be great for the algorithm to help bring in some new subscribers to help us reach 10,000 subs. So let's talk more Raptors basketball. Gary Trent Jr. was out tonight. They were also missing a couple other key players, health and safety, along with injuries. But I know, maybe someone hears Gary Trent Jr. was out of the starting lineup and they're thinking okay, why? Who cares? Gary Trent Jr. is a guy who's going to give you 15 points pretty much every single night. This is a guy who can go off for 20 points just as easily. Gary Trent Jr. just so happens to lead the NBA in steals, which is a mind-boggling stat. I literally don't know if a single person on the entire planet could have predicted that. That halfway through the NBA season, he would be leading in steals. I genuinely don't think so. So Gary Trent Jr. being out tonight was relatively big, but they had Khem Birch come in and play. Now, Khem Birch, he did good for the most part. With Khem Birch, he's mainly there for defensive presence. But there was, I can't remember exactly what it was, so I won't talk about it. But there was like a fourth quarter shot towards the end of the game, the last couple of minutes that he took that I was like, oof, that didn't look great. But shout out Freddie, shout out Pascal, shout out Scotty. Scotty didn't do too much offensively tonight, only shot 3 of 10 from the field. He did have a really nice kind of corner, was that a corner 3? Yeah, he had a nice corner 3, only 7 points, but still had a +4. But Pascal Siakam really was another huge reason that the Raptors were able to win this basketball game tonight. He finished with 29 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, +12. Perfect 10 of 10 from the free throw line. Also shot 3 of 5 from downtown. Very, very efficient from downtown. Siakam, he might be 100% now. I mean, he might be 100%. When he first came back from injury this season, he looked pretty streaky. He looked pretty shaky. There was a lot of just casual NBA fans coming out here and saying, the Raptors should probably trade Siakam because he's making them play worse. And yeah, the Raptors did not play that great the first couple of games when Siakam was back. But you also got to keep in mind they've been battling, just like most teams in the NBA this season, but they've been battling a bunch of injuries. They've been battling a bunch of protocols. Crazy how COVID protocols are still going on. It feels like it's been going on for just so goddamn long. But anyways, tonight you had an 8-man rotation. The bench gave you 19 points tonight, so it was serviceable, but you really needed big games from Pascal and Fred VanVleet. OG Anunoby kind of cooled off tonight, only 12 points for him, only 5 rebounds. Keep in mind he's averaging 19.5 points per game this season, so he's having a good year. He's had a couple of good games stringing together on this 6-game win streak, but for OG, it's kind of I'm kind of viewing OG how I was viewing Siakam a couple of weeks ago, where it's just not consistent yet. There's signs of really good life. There's signs of potential. It's coming together. You can see it's coming together, but it just isn't all that consistent quite yet, whether that's because he's still injured or just trying to get into the swing, or I shouldn't say injured, maybe it hurts, the better word. Whatever the case may be, I have no worry in the world that OG Anunoby is going to not get back to his old self. I would imagine that's going to be very, very soon. I also do want to say Siakam had 7 assists tonight. Again, this man has been passing the ball so unbelievably well. I don't want to undervalue his rebounding ability too. Siakam is just one hell of a basketball player. And without him, without Freddie tonight, the Raptors probably do not get the job done. Outside of the starters, you had Chris Boucher, Precious Achiuwa play 27, 28 minutes as well. Rebounding the basketball along with defensively, I thought they did a phenomenal job. Precious actually finished as a plus 12, but you got 6 points from both of them. You had 8 rebounds from Boucher, and then you had 9 rebounds from Precious. Chris Boucher, I thought, did a fine job. There's still a bunch of moments where you get kind of a migraine watching him play. But for the most part, he showed up when they needed him to show up. There was a play in the last 3 or so minutes where the play had kind of collapsed. Everyone was running around. Freddie was kind of trapped in a corner, finds a cutting Chris Boucher, and he gets a reverse lay-in for a much, much needed point. Today's game was really interesting because it was honestly just like a game of runs. There were a ton of runs throughout the game. Toronto had several different points tonight where they just could not buy a bucket. Second quarter specifically, there was a point in that second quarter. They only finished with 22 points in the second quarter. But you could even say in the fourth quarter, there was, halfway through it, because the Raptors had a 10-point lead at some point to start off the fourth quarter, and then they just couldn't score for a little bit. And, obviously missing Gary Trent Jr., as crazy as it may seem to just a casual non-Raptors fan, it makes a big deal. Gary Trent Jr. is a guy who can create his own shot, guy who can create on his own. He can get his teammates going. He takes pressure off all of his other teammates. So don't underestimate the talent of Gary Trent Jr. This puts the Raptors, I believe, to 20-17. And I am telling you guys, we've talked about this all season. We've talked about this all offseason leading up to it. Don't sleep on the Raptors, man. Don't sleep on the Raptors, especially if you are a playoff team, if you're a fringe playoff team or even a contender. Don't sleep on this Raptors team whenever you play them, whether it's at home, whether it's on the road, whether they have fans, whether they don't have fans, because no matter who this team is missing, they are going to keep fighting. They are going to fight for 48 minutes every single time they step out on that court, and they can beat any team on any given night. As I guess that's how the NBA works. But with this Toronto Raptors squad, with the way their defense is assembled, when they are on, they are really on. So this Raptors team, do not sleep on them, folks. Do not sleep on them, folks. I know Raptors Nation has been waiting for this moment all season as they've just been battling injury after injury after injury after injury. And for the most part now, they are relatively fully healthy, or they're definitely on the right track to getting fully healthy. So that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I post Raptors content several times throughout the week. Thank you to all my Raptors fans who are with me during the live stream today of the first half. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.